Hello, Leo Rising. Welcome to Scopes Unshamed. This is May 2026. So, here at the beginning, what I'd like you to do is go back and listen to April. Let me tell you why. As a person who is devoted to living in cycle and to living with the astrology, what I found to be true is it's super, super helpful to go back and look at what has passed. This is actually one of those powerful ways I would say to work with horoscopes is to look at them after you've been through something. And this allows you to be with the data of your actual life, like the evidence of what happened. What did it feel like? What kinds of conversations did you have? What choices were you faced with? How did you move on those choices? How did you participate in those choices? Like, what came in that delighted you? What came in that was frustrating? Like, we have all of this data now. And so when you go back and listen, you can really begin to like reframe the experience with the magical language that is astrology and to contextualize it and let that help you drop into a deeper understanding of where am I on my path? Like, so what am I learning right now? Like, what are the big themes coming up? Like, this will allow you to go into May and go into this May scope with that deeper sense of like, I know where I am in my path now. So I'm inviting you to do that. Then come on back. Okay, let's talk about May then. So, one of the interesting things about May 2026 is that it begins and then it ends day one and day 31 with, I think it's 31. Yeah, 31, not 30, with full moons. This doesn't always happen, it's rare. So, we've got this kind of like full moons holding both ends of the month, and we're sort of like held in a hammock between full moons. Full moons are times for big, bright energy where something is really being illuminated, like, wow, this is like illuminated. And you don't have to like figure it out, you know? All you have to do is sit back and notice what is being illuminated, what is alive, what is present, what is real, what is in fact happening. And that's collective and personal always. So, these full moons are going to feel really different. And that's something that you can track as you go if you like to track your experiences along with astrology, which is a fun thing to do. So, this first full moon is going to be in the sign of Scorpio because that is the sign that is opposite of Taurus, where we have the sun at the beginning of May. And this full moon, yeah, it's really bringing up a lot for you, is what I'm seeing because, well, first of all, Scorpio is a deeply feeling way of being. Um, it invites us into the deep wells of feeling that we have. It invites us to go into that deeper level of feeling that we often learn to operate above the surface of, like in order to get our things done and to accomplish the tasks of our time, make the decisions we need to make, to be there for the people that we're showing up for, to tend to what matters to us. We learn as humans intelligently that we need to not be feeling the deepest feelings round the clock, like that would make it difficult. So, and then many of us have learned from traumatic experiences across our lives to actually like really not feel those things. So, with Scorpio, one of the things that can feel intense about Scorpio when you hear that adjective intense is just like it is intense to get into the deep, deep feelings. But this is actually like some of the most profound understandings of who we are can be found in those places. And that's where we can really locate our deepest needs to be attuned to and to be held by ourselves. So that depth is vulnerable. It takes us to the vulnerability of the truth that as human beings, we have a capacity to be wounded. That's what it means to be vulnerable. It means the capacity to be wounded. We're all wounded. We all have the capacity to be wounded, and we are wounded. And we've been taught that the strong thing is to, like, quote unquote, rise up above these things. But real bravery, in my view, is to be able to be with ourselves at the scariest places and still have compassion for ourselves and not walk away from what is uncomfortable to look at, like where we may have grief, where we may hold shame, where we may, really wish that the past had been different. This is a profound time for you, Leo rising, to hold all of this. You don't have a full moon in Scorpio more than once a year. I mean, rarely that can happen. That can happen some years, but usually there's only one time a year, and it's every spring where you are invited into a deep place of feeling the fullness of all that you're from, the deep past, the deep, deep past, and how it shaped you, how the wounds of lineage have entered your body, and how, like, the past is always present. And also, we live here now. And what do we do with that? And that's why I teach on shaming, is because shame returns us to the past as if it's the only option we have. Unshaming allows us to be with the past and choose a different emergent way forward. And so, in this powerful moment, you have this opportunity to really be with the deep history of yourself. Scorpio lighting up what we call your fourth house, which is like family, lineage, the childhood home, the deep land, and go hold those foundations a new way, the way that you've been learning as you've been growing tools in your healing pathway with more capacity now to see the larger intelligences of the past and also recognize that you are here in 2026 making your own sovereign choices. So, wow. Because this is really important, because one of the larger things you're learning across May is what to do with some of the growing information that you've been navigating since maybe February, maybe March, definitely across April. You may have been starting to sense that there's a no, N-O, in your life. I call this particular no, I'm going to talk about the emergent no. I've been teaching on this a while. It's something that I created. I have a free workshop and handout in the show notes. This will allow you to really, really be with the complexity of what I'm talking about. And if this feels like it's resonating for you and you're like, Britten, I need help with this, yes. Okay. So the emergent no is different than a fuck no, which is more straightforward. Thank you for that clarity. The emergent no is a no that's has been underneath the surface of our consciousness. We can only see and be conscious of a portion of ourselves and what's going on within us. And so the idea with emergent no is that under our conscious awareness, there's been a growing sense that, like, something is dying, something's not alive anymore, something needs to change. And we don't bring it up above the surface emergently unless we have the tools and capacity to be with how the enacting of this no is going to mean something in your life has to change. We humans tend to be a little bit nervous about change. So the emergent no could have been underneath the surface of your awareness for months, or it could have been underneath the surface of your awareness for decades. That's how these work. It's proper timing, the proper timing of sensing, ah, yes, I can be the person who is with this. So if this is resonating, that means that you've grown into being the person with the capacity for this. An emergent no doesn't mean endings necessarily. Often, what it wants is updates of updating into present time our agreements with a relationship, a job, a place, a behavior, a pattern, a story, a way of talking to ourselves that's got to change. And we need to update it into present time. So that's where that past piece comes in that the full moon was giving you information about, is so that you can get into present time with who you are in the world, because Taurus lights up your most public self. It's a very important part of your chart. Who you are in the world, continuing to update that is really important so that it's not being dragged down and burdened by what's not actually here anymore. What the invalidation that that person gave you, that's been your way of seeing the world and yourself since, recognizing that like that person is not a big deal to me anymore. Actually, I've outgrown all of that. And in present time, this is the truth of who I am now. And so the emergent no is showing up because something's trying to get moved out of the way and updated so that you can now, whew, a lot lighter now, like a lot lighter now. But there may be some grief with it because it took a whole lot to get to a point where something's a no, and you could have been deeply committed to what you're now a no to for a long time, and it may have been previously important to you. So there's a level of needing to have capacity for grief that is part of why holding the emergent no is complicated. And that's why I have a whole workshop and PDF for you. So if that's resonating, you can just give that to yourself. You really can just do that. So I think you're going to really come into a lot of clarity by mid-month. And coming into that clarity is not always a fun process. It's just, it can feel very like dense trying to make these choices and to claim our desire. And we're part of that density is the shame that we're moving through. But then, truly, after the new moon in Taurus mid-month, things are going to move differently. Like the energy is going to be really different. You are now going to be moving. It's just like you pushed it out. So now you get to like be in a new phase of parenting yourself. It's like now you're participating, you're integrating, you're metabolizing, you're acting, you're moving, you're moving things along. And I think that for a lot of people that it's like the harder part is like getting to that. And then now like you're just dealing with what comes up as it comes up, and it's not on you anymore to make a decision. Something about that just feels better for me at least. So you're going to be spending the second half of the month kind of like moving on the moves you've been making now. And you may be finding that a lot of support is coming from your connections, like the people that are in your community, the people who support you, the people who are really rooting for you. They're like the people who are rooting for who you're becoming. They're rooting for you in your emergence. They want this for you. Who are those people? Like really connecting with those people is going to be so supportive for you because they're going to be reflecting back to you that you know you're becoming, even in the face of some people who may be only seeing you through the lens of the past. And it's like harder with them because they're not updated yet. So seek out those people who really support you. And I think you may get some big awareness of this come the week of May 21. Like you may start to really see some things around community, people, support from your ecosystem that is showing up here. That particular week has some like big astrology. And so there could be some big collective energy shifts that are happening So that's something to just keep in mind that you may want to build in some space to hear yourself, build in some preparation for boundaries with like how much space do you really have for collective chaos and how much do you want to give it so that you can hear yourself. That's a personal choice. Um, and so, yeah, there may be some WTF astrology that week. Nothing to be afraid of. We're doing this all the time these days, we humans living on the 2026 timeline. So it's if it's there, the question is, what do you need right now? You know, the question is, what would be supportive to you right now? What can you give yourself so that you can stay the course with the stuff that you've been building, the information you've been getting, like what you're really going for right now. And then we finally close with that other full moon. This one will be a full moon in Sagittarius then, because Sagittarius is the sign that's opposite the sign of Gemini, which is the sign that the sun is in at the end of May. So this full moon is very supportive, very fortifying. What is going to be illuminated has more to do with like, given what you really care about, what do you really care about? Given like what really matters to you, actually, what do you want to create? What wants to move through you? What wants to flow through you? What do you want to teach even? What what are you imparting on planet Earth? You, from your particular unique matrix of codes, experiences, positionalities, dreams, desires, wounds. You are the one with this set of like this is the you that is this architecture and what wants to be birthed through that. And like you don't have to manage this. You can't fuck it up. Just follow the signs. What are you noticing is showing up? Because the full moons, again, they really illuminate. They illuminate through your life. They illuminate all around you and within you. So you don't have to go look for it. It's not like Britain said I'm supposed to be creating something. It's really about like what's here. Take note of that. Give it your attention. Ask it questions. Get attuned to it. Pull some cards. You know, like be with it because your life is going to show you what you need to see. You don't have to manufacture it. And you've been doing all of this healing to be in present time. So you can be very in present time with the information that comes through rather than seeing what's coming up from a shame perspective, seeing it from present time where you are unshaming. And yeah, maybe you'll get a lot of inspiration from what comes up that will then you'll be able to bring into the latter part of Gemini season, which we will talk about when we get to June. So, Leo rising, I will see you in June. Have a beautiful month. If it would be supportive to listen to this again, which I recommend, I say make a note to come back and listen to this at the middle of the month. Come back and listen, and now you're in it. Now you're like, oh, yeah, I see what you're talking about. And you can make some subtle shifts based on things that come up in you as you listen to what's coming up through me in this scope, Unshamed. Thank you so much.